once you understand this, sticking to your deficit will feel so much easier. Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. So in today's video, me and you are going through something very exciting and very important, which is 7 ways to make your calorie deficit easier. So many people go through fat loss phases feeling starving, feeling miserable, and like it just doesn't have to be that way. Like yes, there's going to be sacrifices along the way, but there's things you can do to make it so much easier, and making it easier will make sure that you actually do it for long enough to see the results you want. So without further ado, let us get into it. But first, my accreditations. Not only am I a fat loss coach, but I've also been through my own fat loss journey. This was me in 2016, and then this is me now. So like I really have been through it. I've been through the phases, and I know what works and I know what doesn't work. Okay, I am just about to head to the gym for a leg day, and I'm bringing y'all with me, of course. Got my iced coffee here. I had some breakfast a little while ago. So this brings me very nicely into one of my tips on how to make your calorie deficit easier, and it is not neglecting strength training. Okay, I know in the world of social media, especially like years and years ago, we would see like do like 3 hours of cardio every single day, and like while cardio has its place, strength training, I promise you, is such a good idea, because the more muscle mass you have, the easier it will be for you to lose fat and burn fat. But another reason why this is so important is it's this idea that a lot of people want to look toned. Okay, a lot of people come to me, a lot of my clients, they say, Spen, I want to look really toned, etc. But the key thing most people are missing is they think that just losing body fat is enough, but that kind of toned physique you're wanting doesn't actually come from just removing body fat. You need to have muscle mass underneath, so when you lose that body fat, it shows, and that's what that toned look actually is. So the majority of people that want that toned physique cannot get it unless they are strength training. So let us head to the gym. We're gonna have a ball. Let's get into it. Okay, here is the outfit. If you guys want a fun fact, it is that geese mate for life, so they're probably married, and they're probably married. Okay, I am back from the gym. I have showered, put on my comfy clothes. I'm about to do a really big work vlog. I've got my client check-ins to do. It's Monday, which is my check-in day. But I've just, like I said, made lunch. Did I say I made lunch? I don't know. Anyways, here is my lunch. It is very, very simple, arguably. But right now, simple is what I need. So for example, it is toast, a little bit of mayo, egg, and some chopped up meatball. And then I'm also having a protein shake on the side, and then I'm probably gonna have like an apple and a little bit, just because I honestly couldn't be bothered to cut it up just yet. Anyways, but one of the things that I wanted to say, and this isn't even like one of my like 7 tips, it's kind of like a bonus tip, I guess, but it's just like the power of having simple meals that you actually enjoy. Because I think when you think of weight loss and how to lose weight, you think of like what the media used to tell us, especially like years ago, which is like it's only salads, no carbs, all of that kind of nonsense, where in reality the best meals for your fat loss are the ones that A, fit your calories firstly, but that are simple and you can repeat day in and day out. Because if you have to cook like a 7-step meal that takes you 2 hours every single day for lunch in order for you to hit your goals, you're not going to do that, okay? I'm just telling you, you're not gonna do it. Having something simple where you are really enjoying it and is easy for you to have and easy to make, it makes it a lot easier for you to stay on track and actually reach your goals. So all that being said, I'm excited to eat my lunch. Okay, I'm just on my way to the gym now, and I'm gonna tell you one of the tips. There's a goose that does look like it's gonna start charging at me. Oh my god, I'm very scared. That was very stressful. But essentially, one of the biggest mistakes I used to make when I first started my weight loss journey was by being very, very sedentary during the day. So I wasn't moving a lot. I would go to the gym and I would work hard in the gym, but outside of that, I was very, very still and I didn't move a lot. Now, there's nothing inherently wrong with that, but it does put you at a little bit of a disadvantage, and I'm going to tell you why. So in the simplest way to explain this, when you're trying to lose weight, you want to create what is called an energy deficit. So essentially your body is burning more energy than you're consuming. And from doing that, your body will then start to use the stored fat on your body as its energy source, which is actually how you then start losing fat, getting that slimmer physique. So the energy our body uses for fuel, we get from our calories in our day-to-day life, our meals, breakfast, lunch, dinner, etc. And then in terms of the burning the energy, you do that just by simply moving around. Now our body burns calories just at rest, just due to our regular functions like our brain, our heart, just like literally everything within our body is burning calories at rest. So even if you do absolutely no movement, you still need to eat, but you can increase the amount of energy your body's burning in the day by increasing your movement in the day. So that's why when I said I was super sedentary and I didn't really move around a lot, it was meaning that I was in less of an energy deficit. So if we think of what your maintenance calories are, which is essentially the amount of calories and food your body needs during the day in order to stay exactly the same. So if you're eating in a calorie deficit, so you're already eating underneath what those maintenance calories are, but then you are moving around loads, you have a super active lifestyle, you're then creating even more of a deficit to what your body's burning, and that will just speed up your fat loss results. So essentially, all of this to say, the more you move during the day, the less intense of a calorie deficit you have to be in, and therefore the more food you can actually eat in the day. The more food you eat, the easier it'll be to stay in the calorie deficit long enough to actually see results. I hope that made sense. If it didn't, let me know. Okay, I have just gotten ready for the day and I have a morning full of calls. I've got some client calls and I've got a call with my mentor, and then I'm hitting the gym later in the evening. I feel like I've spoken more about me going to the gym in this video than I have in a lot of other videos, and it's not even about me going to the gym. Anyways, it's currently Thursday and that means the weekend is coming up, and I know the weekend for a lot of people is a place of high stress, and especially if there's like a specific like party or function or event that you're not sure how to handle when it comes to staying within a deficit, because it's easy to stay in a deficit when you can control everything, okay? When it's not easy to control that is when you're in a place where there's food everywhere, people are offering you food, drinks, all of that kind of social pressure that comes with going out. So I'm gonna give you some tips that might help you actually navigate those social situations in a way where it doesn't feel like you just throw out your diet completely and then try and start again the next Monday and the cycle keeps on repeating. The first part is called calorie banking, and essentially what that is you're essentially saving up calories throughout the week for you to like spend at the weekend. And an example to use to kind of try and understand this a little bit more is, imagine you are going to buy a car on Saturday and you have an entire budget for the week. You would probably not spend all of your money in the beginning of the week, and you'd save up your money for that Saturday when you're buying the car, okay? It's the same thing with your calories. So this isn't to say starve yourself all week, but it's to just be proactive and think, okay, if I have a party on Saturday, maybe I can reduce my calories by 100 to 200 every single day from Monday to Friday, and then that way I'm able to use a little bit more of that money, that calorie money at that party without it being like you're completely falling off track. Now, I wouldn't say to do this every single weekend because that would be when you require a little bit of a different strategy, but calorie banking can be really, really good if you've got like a big event that you're looking forward to where you just want to be able to enjoy yourself and have a little bit more like wiggle room when it comes to your calories. Now, if you're somebody that goes out a lot on the weekend, you have plans with friends, you want to be able to go out to a restaurant, you want to be able to have a little bit more of a social life and not feel as burdened, what you can do is have a different kind of calorie split. Most people have a calorie split that is every single day the exact same calories. But if you know that that's not really feasible for you and you always end up going over your calories on the weekend, it's much more sustainable for you to give yourself more calories during the weekend to have and less during the week. And that will still end up with the same weekly like total of calories, but you're just splitting it up in a way that works for you. So say your daily calorie deficit number is around 2,000. What you could do is during the week, you'd have 1,800 calories to have. And then over the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, you'd have 2,500 each for those days. That's a really big difference. That's a whole extra meal. That's a few drinks out. It's a way for you to still stay on track while still enjoying your life. But I must nail home that this does not mean for you to just like starve yourself throughout the week, because you still need food to function, to do all of your daily activities, to have energy, to enjoy life. So this is more so to say you can kind of bend the rules a little bit to make it work for you, but it shouldn't be at the detriment to yourself. Now, I hope that helps, because I feel like so many people think diets have to be just like one way or the highway, and it really is whatever works best for you is the plan that's meant for you. Do you know what I mean? And that's why I always recommend working with a coach in some capacity, is because they know how to make sure that you're following it in a way that actually works for you, but is actually also still going to deliver you the results. Because doing this willy-nilly can kind of get you into a bit of like, I don't know, places where you're thinking you're in the deficit, but you're not, just because things aren't being tallied correctly. But yeah, that's a really great tip, and it's helped me a lot over the years. Okay, you know those things that you just really wish people would understand the importance of? For me, one of those things has been and will always be the importance of just like your basic things. So when I say basics, I mean your hydration, your sleep, and just like general nutrition quality, but especially the sleep and the hydration thing, because so many people struggle with being able to stay consistent and being motivated to go to the gym and eat well, especially if they're trying to eat within a calorie deficit. But then I ask how many hours in a night they sleep, and they say like 4 or 5. And I'm like, that's not enough, okay? When you are really like underslept, if you're super tired, you're not in a place where your decision making is going to be able to support the things that you want to do, because already eating in a calorie deficit isn't the easiest thing in the world, and that requires a lot of just you doing what you say you're going to do. And by not having slept enough, you're already putting yourself at such a disadvantage, because you don't have the energy to do the things that you need to do. So one of the easiest fixes for not feeling like you have the motivation to do things is by making sure you're getting at least like 7 hours of sleep in a night. At least 6, okay? At least 6 hours. Try it for a week and just see how much better you feel. The next part of that is the hydration, okay? Your body needs water, okay? You don't have to be guzzling like a gallon every single day, but if you're somebody that just has like 1 cup of water per day, I can guarantee you are probably extremely dehydrated. And the reason why this is so important is because your body needs water just to function. Like, your cells need water, and getting them from food just isn't enough. And the amount of energy you will get just simply by staying hydrated is crazy. That's one of like the biggest feedbacks I get from my clients, is after like the first month, when they've been drinking enough water consistently, they notice that they just feel so much more energetic, because their body isn't literally like trying to shut down internally. Do you know what I mean? Those are very small things. They're not small things. Like, they are like big things in the grand scheme of things, but I think a lot of people just neglect to see how important they could be, which is why this is one of like my favorite tips, and it's something that you can so easily change that has a really big impact. So I also mentioned nutrition quality, and this is where I don't want you to freak out, because I'm not saying you have to eat salads all the time, okay? When I say nutrition quality, I'm talking about having balanced meals. And I know that is like a term that's thrown around by the weight loss fitness industry at the moment, but it's for like a good reason, because once you understand this, sticking to your deficit will feel so much easier. Let me explain. If you're eating in a calorie deficit, and you have all of your calories are coming from like donuts and foods that are just gonna kind of give you a really quick sugar high, and then you're gonna crash immediately after, you still don't have any more calories left throughout the day to use, and you are probably going to feel very hungry, very sluggish, and you probably won't really want to do anything that you need to in order to stick to your deficit, like getting your steps in, going to the gym, eating within a calorie deficit, cooking your home cooked meals, all of that stuff. Now, if you were to use your calories and have a balanced meal, so when I say balanced meals, I'm talking about carbs, fiber, protein, and healthy fats, okay? If your meals all consist of those, it's going to keep you fuller throughout the day. So when you have breakfast, you'll stay full until lunchtime, but you also have a lot of energy. So when you are full and you have energy, you're so much more likely to go to the gym, get your steps done, do the home cooking, and all the stuff that's going to kind of propel your deficit forward. You can still eat the foods you like within moderation, but it's just making sure that you're getting enough of like the protein, carbs, fiber, and fats into your diet to keep you full until like the next meal, if that makes sense. So let us quickly remember that the whole reason for these tips is to make staying in a calorie deficit a little bit easier, because obviously the longer you're able to stick to your deficit, the more results you're going to be able to see. And you're not going to end up in that cycle where you can hit your diet really great for like a few weeks and then you fall off and have to start again. You just want to be able to stay in it consistently. So one of the things that really makes a big difference is to enjoy the food that you're eating, but it also to kind of like last a little while. Do you know what I mean? And this is where like enjoyment, satiety all comes into it. And it's within this idea of kind of like volume eating, but also just like volume eating, eating with different textures, including the foods that you love. All of that kind of falls into this tip here. And so what is volume eating? Volume eating is basically where you're eating foods that are lower in calories but are quite voluminous, so that it takes you longer to eat it. Okay, so tell me how you would rather spend your cows. Say you could have a cinnamon bun that is like 500 calories, and that would be like for your lunch. Okay, you have the cinnamon bun, eat it in probably like 2 minutes. It's gone. It tasted amazing, but it's gone in like 2 minutes. And you're like, okay, cool. Or you could have like a really substantial meal that takes you like 15 to 20 minutes to eat, that's got a load of different textures, flavors, like spice levels, temperatures of food. Some could be cold, some could be warm. All of that, which do you think would feel more like a substantial meal, even though they're the exact same amount of calories? It's probably going to be this meal. So this is what I kind of say. Think about where you can add volume to your meals in a way that's going to make the meal last longer, because that's what's going to give your brain that like kick of, wow, I'm having a fantastic meal. And this is where I really like to play with textures as well, because if you have like a fat bowl of oats, after like the 30th spoonful, you're gonna be like, all I've had are these dang oats. But if you add some like sliced apples, maybe some like frozen blueberries, you're introducing more textures, different like temperatures, and things that just like keep it exciting in your mouth when you're having it, so that it doesn't feel like all one note. And it's these little tricks that will make it feel a lot less like you're in this crazy diet and you're actually just enjoying your day-to-day life. Guys, I'm getting out of breath. Okay, for the last and final tip that I'm going to talk about in this video, I think genuinely this is probably one of the most important ones, and it is meal planning and meal prepping in any way that you can. So I think we can all agree. Also, by the way, I've just gone back from the gym and I'm having some electrolytes, because when I say I am tired, I'm tired. But I think we can all agree that the vast majority of us would consider ourselves busy, okay? In some capacity, whether you've got kids, whether you're in uni, whether you were working 9 to 5, whatever it is. Like, most people these days are busy. Yet people can be busy and find time to lose weight, but the key is the systems that they are using to enable them to do that. And one of the biggest ones is planning your meals ahead of time, and also prepping your meals ahead of time. So what's the difference between meal planning and meal prepping? So when I say plan your meals, I'm saying like be realistic with what you're buying when you go to the grocery store. So I want you to think about, okay, like if I was to have this for breakfast, this for lunch, and this for dinner, is that going to actually hit my calorie goal for the day? And will I hit my protein goal? Will I hit my fiber goal? And just do a little bit of like pre-tracking. It doesn't have to be anything super precise, but when I'm going through my like week of meals, what I'll do is I'll put in, okay, I'll have oats for breakfast and kind of track that, put what I might have for lunch, and like around about what I might have for dinner. And then I get a really good idea of like, okay, that's simply not going to work because I will be way over my calories, or that works for calories but I am nowhere near my protein goal. And so the reason why that's really helpful is because you eliminate getting to the end of the day and being like, oh shoot, it's the end of the day, I'm way over my calories, or it's dinner time and I have no calories left, or I've just had dinner and I'm nowhere near my protein goal. Do you know what I mean? Like, that pre-planning is a bit annoying, but it will save you so much time in the long run, because you're not going to be constantly beating yourself up in the evenings when you've gone over your calories. And then for the meal prepping aspect, it's all about making your life easier. As I keep saying, All of these tips are to just make it easier to stick to your deficit. And one of the easiest ways to stick to your deficit is have meals prepared ahead of time, especially dinners. If you work 9 to 5 and every single day when you get back you're shattered after working that 9 to 5, you're probably not going to want to make the best meal choices that will stick with your deficit. But if you have it prepped in the fridge and you can easily just take it out, that's probably a whole lot easier than even like ordering delivery and having to wait for it, or making something super quick that's not really that nutritious because it's already there, you've already done it. Do you know what I mean? So it's basically just trying to take the guesswork out of as much of it as you possibly can. Okay, everybody, that is gonna do it for this video. Now, I hope these tips have helped. I know how hard it can be when you're in a calorie deficit and you feel hungry all the time, or you just like feel like you can't stick to the deficit, and like the mental fatigue that can take because you feel like it's all your fault, when in reality, changing these 7 things might really make a big difference in terms of just your ability to stick to it long term. And everybody deserves to feel comfortable in their clothes, happy in their body, and if losing a little bit of fat is what's going to do that for you, then I really do hope these tips help you. Now, if you are somebody that has been in calorie deficits for ages and are still really struggling and are sick of trying to do it alone, I am an online coach and I do help women do this exact same thing. If you want more information, it'll be in the description. So yeah, just wanted to say that if you do need help, I am very much here to help you. And yeah, if you like this style of video, make sure to give it a like, drop a comment. If you have any other tips for helping with calorie deficits, drop those in the comments as well. Let's create a community of people that are all helping each other. And yeah, I do post a new video every single Sunday at 6 p.m. GMT. And yeah, with that, I hope you're having a fantastic day wherever you are, whatever you're doing. I love you. Goodbye.